Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope all of you are having an exceptional week as we bring the week to an end. I hope that you have been able to accomplish the things you set out to do. I hope that you have remained positive, encouraged, inspired, and focused. For those of you who have experienced some hiccups, some setbacks, some delays, some disappointments, I want you to understand that delay does not mean denial, that you have the ability to focus, you have the ability to recalibrate, you have the ability to readjust. What your focus has to be on is being relentless, being fearless, being unwilling to turn around, unwilling to let go, unwilling to stop and give up. I was talking to someone who interviewed me on yesterday, and I was telling them that the successes that I've experienced in life hasn't been because I always had the right answer or I always made the right move or I never ran into challenges or never ran into difficulty. My successes have been because I refuse to quit. I'm relentless. I never give in. I never turn around. I never give up. I make up in my mind that I'm going to go the distance. And that's the commitment that you have to have. Yes, you're going to have some great moments where you're going to move, you're going to build momentum, and sometimes it's going to feel like you're coasting because things are moving so smoothly. But please understand me that there are going to be times where it's difficult, where it's hard, where it just seems like everything you try is being pushed back on. It's going to seem like that every step is full of uh, tension and turmoil. What you got to remember is you're in this for the long haul. You're not giving up. You cannot quit. Whatever you do, quitting cannot be an option. You've got to finish. There are going to be some times where you're going to get knocked down. There are going to be some times where you're going to experience failure. The whole idea that failure isn't an option is very, very misleading. Failure isn't an option for me because I will not allow failure to be the final experience. It doesn't mean that I don't fail. It just means that that can't be my permanent reality in anything. When I fail, I get back up. When I fail, I find a way to do something to move myself forward. When I fail, I learn from my failures. And what am I doing? I'm learning how to advance myself through discovery. That's what happens in inventions. That's what happens in the process of creativity. That's what's going to happen as you build and write the story of your future. What I'm going to ask you to do is focus with me this morning. I'm going to talk to you about where it all starts. I was talking with a new client on yesterday about confidence. And I want to share with you the basic principles of success and how you build confidence, how you move, and how you function in the world. I want to, first of all, eradicate the idea that you won't fail, that you won't have setbacks, that you will not have those moments where life seems to be winning. Um, there's going to be times, more often than not, where it's going to appear that life is bringing its life's challenges are bringing their A game. And when life's challenges bring their A game, how do you respond? You make A's. You decide, okay, I'm going to get better to meet the challenge. I'm going to get better to overcome. I'm going to get better to rise to the top. That's what it's about. Before I get in this, I want to remind you that there are some resources in the description box. Uh, Find something that you think may work for you and take advantage of the resources. What I want to really encourage people to do is we still are doing the 30-day holistic transformation. This is a chance for people who want to work with me on a long-term basis, but may not be ready or may not be certain to dive in and make something happen over a short period of time that's decisive, that will get you moving. Because a lot of you, the thing is, you won't move. You haven't made a decision. You won't commit. You're standing on the edge, but you won't make that step. Why? Because of uncertainty, because of fear, because of apprehension and trepidation. Let me tell you something. You've got to take the first step. It's after that first step that things happen. The 30-day holistic transformation is a way for me to work with people over a 30-day period, 4 sessions, where we really get into what you want to do. We find a way to change behavioral habits that you can develop over that 30 days into better habits that will catapult you and move you and begin to build the momentum. That link is in there. There's some other links in there. Find one, but I would love to have an opportunity to sit down with you in 4 weeks and show you what can happen in 30 days. Because once you discover what you can do in 30 days, then everything that you have in front of you that seems huge becomes smaller. Why? Because you just break it down in increments, small steps at a time, changing, evolving, becoming, because you don't get what you are. I mean, you don't get what you want, you get what you are or who you are and what you become. And so if you learn, once you learn that you can evolve into anything you desire to evolve into, all of these challenges become smaller because now you see them in incremental steps. But anyway, that's that. In talking to this new client about confidence, the one thing that came to mind is the simplicity of confidence. Confidence is just the place you are mentally when you believe that you can do something, when you have a certain level of self-assurance about what you are about to attempt. The lack of confidence comes from the opposite of what creates confidence, and that's the lack of preparation. When you haven't done it enough, when you haven't put time in and effort, energy and effort into planning for it, you will lack confidence. Why? Because it hasn't been done enough. What happens with confidence is when you become confident when you have done it so many times that it's second nature. So how do you do it? You start to do it over and over again. You got to start somewhere. You cannot start life out in any area as an expert. So you're going to have to come in as a novice and you're going to have to start taking actions. You're going to have to start moving and doing things. That's where people are uncomfortable and most people won't move. Most people like being number 1, 2, 3, or 4 in a space. And even though they've outgrown the space, and even though being at the level they really want to operate at requires them to leave the space, they have issues with walking into a space where they're number 40, number 41, 42, 43. Why? Because they don't feel they stand out. But the whole thing is, if you're ever really truly growing, you're going to constantly be in a space where you're number 40. Why? Because you're going to conquer one space and become number 1 in it. But you can only be as big as that space at number 1. If you want to get bigger, you're going to have to go to a space that has more capacity, but there are people in it that's been there longer than you, and they're going to be functioning at a higher level than you. They're going to have more knowledge and expertise than you. So you're going to be in a lower ranking than them, but you're going to learn from them. You're going to apply the principles they've been using. You're going to put in work harder than they ever put in. Why? Because that's how you get ahead. You have to be willing to put in more work and work harder than the people who are reaching for the thing that you want. If you want to establish yourself as the eminent person in any field, you're going to have to put in the work. It's not going to come solely from your talent. Your talent will open the door for you. Your talent will present you the opportunity. The talent will bring you before certain people, but it's going to have to be your self-discipline and your work ethic that says, I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to do it so frequently. I'm going to invest so much time in learning, so much time in practicing, so much time in execution that I am going to be 100% confident that anytime I'm required to step out and do it, I'm going to nail it. Why? Because I own it. That's how you build it. Let me tell you some other things you're going to have to be able to do and embody in order to achieve success over the long term. And again, I want to iterate to everyone that will listen that when I say success, I don't mean that you have this life of ease. I'm telling you from a personal experience. I told someone this morning, life is a continuum. What does that mean? That means you're on this constant tension in life where you're either moving forward, you're moving backwards, or you have an equal pull between the two and you're stuck and you're static. But you are always on a continuum, and no time on this continuum will you have uninterrupted movement. In other words, you're going to be moving forward for a while, and then you're going to hit a hiccup and you're going to move backwards. And then it's going to take some time to recalibrate, some time to adjust, some time to develop yourself and find yourself and do what you need to do to get you moving again. And in real time, that can be anywhere from a day to a week to a month to a year to 5 years. And you don't get caught up in the time, you get caught up in the preparation, the preparedness, and the growth, because life is about growth. If you grow consistently, if you grow intentionally, you will accomplish the things you're setting out to do. Might not happen in the time that you've set for yourself for it to happen, but it will happen. But what you've got to do is never allow yourself to become content and with being in a place to the point that you're not moving, that you don't have a desire to be better, because that's where you become complacent. That's where you become static. That's where you become stuck. You've got to have a desire. That desire's got to push you. You got to be passionate about what you do. You've got to have a certain level of passion that drives you. I tell people all the time, when you truly discover your purpose, it will explain your pain. But at the same time that your purpose is explaining your pain and making you understand some of the things you've been through in life, it will also be igniting your passion. Your purpose will explain your pain and it will ignite your passion. When you know that you're built for something, that you have a reason for being, it will ignite a passion. All of a sudden, now you've got this force that's pushing you to do something that you know you were literally built to do. That's the thing that you got to get fixed on. Then the next thing is you got to become obsessive about it. I know people don't like the word obsessive, but you got to want it so bad that it's constantly in your mind. You got to want it so bad that you're itching to do it. You got to want it so bad that you literally think about it. You think night and day. You're pushing. I'm telling you, there's a certain level of obsession that goes with greatness. Now, if you want to be average, you want to be mediocre, you just want to be good, then maybe not. But if you're talking about being at the height of your industry, the height of your particular niche in any market, you're going to have to be obsessed with being the best. You're going to have to want to put in the time, because see, there are going to be so many other things that are pulling you away from the things you need to be doing, that if you're not obsessed with it, you will move with it. There are going to be times you can easily be sitting in front of the TV. There are going to be times you could easily be hanging out with the boys. There are going to be times you can easily be talking about what you're going to do with the girls. You got to have a level of obsessiveness that says, I'll party later. I'll do this later. I'm going to hang out with the boys. But right now, I'm finna nail this. I'm about to kill this. I'm about to do this at a level it hasn't been done before. I don't care how long it takes me. I don't care what I have to go through. I don't care how many people talk about me. I don't care what. I'm going out and I'm going to kill this. I've done this so many times in so many different areas, and I'm in the middle of doing it again. And I'm telling you, it's not easy, because taking yourself to the next level takes you out of your comfort zone. And then there are these things called vicissitudes. You hear me use that word a lot. Vicissitudes are simply unexpected happenings and situations that pop into your life when you least expect them. And you got to deal with them. It's not just the par for the course for the work you do. There's certain things, if I want to be this, there's just certain things I'm going to have to do to become that. But along the way of doing those things, there are going to be other things that pop up that have nothing to do with it, but I still have to deal with them. There are going to be things that pop up that interrupt the movement, the momentum, and the motion, and I've got to deal with them. And the thing I can tell you is that's part of what is the process in achieving the prize. I talk often about the process. Most people don't want to deal with it. Most people don't have anything to do with the process, because the process is often uncomfortable. The process is often painful. The process involves a certain level of conquering fear. Why? Because the process is taking you places you haven't been before. But that's where confidence is developed. Confidence is developed within the corridors of the process. You becoming prepared. That's the thing you've got to look at. That's the thing you've got to be aware of, is being prepared. But then you don't just have to be obsessive. Here's my favorite word. You've got to be relentless. What does that mean? Relentless means I'm unyielding, that I'm non-negotiable about where I'm headed. There's no option to give up, no option to surrender, no option to retreat and turn around, no option to give in and let go. That I am going to finish what I started. I'm going to make it happen, or I'm going to die trying. Those are the only two options. And you have to be willing to be that centered, that focused, that obsessed, that you're so relentless that it's going to happen or you're going to die trying to make it happen. Those, if so, let me say, people. One thing my wife asked me, um, when we first got together, before we got married, but when we had said, okay, we're going to get married, she asked me, she saw what I was doing and she saw how focused I was and she saw where I was coming from and where I was going. And she could tell that it was going to be a hard road. And you could tell that she was concerned about it because now she's walking into it. And she asked me, do you have a plan B? I said, no. And she said, okay. And she said, well, why? I said, because plan B will distract you from plan A. What does it mean? What it means is normally your plan B is a step down from your plan A. Now, when I say plan B, I don't mean that you don't make adjustments in what you're going for. I mean, plan B to me is I want to do this, but if I can't do this, then maybe I'll go do this. Two completely different things. I'm not talking about the way you get there. You got to make some adjustments along the way. You got to try different things. I'm talking about if I decide that I'm going to start a holistic health business, then I'm going to start a holistic health business. How that evolves and how that comes about is going to be determined about the challenges that I meet along the way. A plan B, well, if I can't do that, then I'm going to go out and I'm going to start a paper route. Okay, the paper route is going to be easy because somebody will supply you with the papers. You get a bicycle or a car and you go throw them. And you'll get something done and you'll create income. And if you get creative with it, no telling what you can do with it. There's nothing wrong with a paper route, but that wasn't my plan A. My plan A was starting a holistic company. So that's what I focus on. That's what I'm going to do. That's how I'm going to do it. There is no plan B because plan B simply distracts. This is what happens when you have a plan B. You start out with plan A, you go out, you put the work in. It gets hard. Why? Because you're going for something that you've never done before. You're going for a height you've never reached before. You're trying to make something happen. Guess what? It gets tough. Guess what people do when it gets tough? They start looking at that plan B. It ain't hard. It ain't that hard to do that. It's not that many difficulties and disappointments and setbacks in that. I'm going for it. I tried this. I tried it. It didn't work. I'm going to plan B. But guess what? When there is no plan B and there's no option to quit, guess what you do? You figure it out. And that's the difference between those who are remarkably successful and those who are just meandering through the maze of mediocrity, is that they figure it out. It's not that they're smarter. It's not that they're better. It's not how many resources they got. They make the resources when the resources aren't there. George Bernard Shaw said, those who get on in the world are those who wake up in the morning and go out and find the opportunities they need. And if the opportunities don't exist, they create them. It's that simple. After being relentless, you got to be resilient. Why? Because you're going to take some hits. I've taken a few hits over the last few years. Some setbacks, lost one of my major revenue generating streams, still recovering from that, but doing it. Had a couple of major health scares, including 5 heart attacks, recovering from that. Hasn't been easy, but doing it. Having some shifts in how things are being done while on the move. Not easy, but I'm doing it. And then here's the part that I love and I live for. I'm relentless, but I'm also fearless. People say, what do you fear? I said, man, when you've been through what I've been through, you've been through the work, here's the thing, the things that I feared, God put me right in the middle of. The things that I feared, the few things I feared in life, God put me in the middle of, and I had to deal with them. So the things that I feared, I confronted, and I won. I came out. I'm still standing. And what it's taught me is I'm built for anything that I face. I'm built for this. I train myself. When it gets tough, I look myself in the mirror and I say, you're built for this. And I don't fear anything because at the end of the day, I'm either going to win or I'm going to die. If I'm dead, it doesn't matter. If I win, I've proven once again that if you stay and you fight and you refuse to quit, life will come to you and answer your demand. And that's the thing I want you to stand on. I'm about to get out of here. I just wanted to stop by and drop that on you. It's important that you understand it. There's nothing that you can go after that if you don't commit yourself to that you can't get to. It's, are you committed enough to go the distance? As I always say, I'm going to live my life on full so that I die on E. I challenge you to do the same. On that note, I'm out of here. Don't forget to enroll in the 30-day holistic transformation course. It's affordable. It's a way to commit. It's a way to work with yours truly on a short term. A lot of people have done it and found out they wanted to work with me long term, but it's a way to get in and make something happen in your life in 30 days. I mean, literally 30 days, see something change. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.